Welcome, everyone. My name is Shmuel Feinblum. I'm the grandson of Dr. Leila Bronner, Leah Bat Harav Yitzchak V'Rachel Amsel, and we are here today to honor her memory with the Shloshim. I would like to call upon the Rav of Sha'ar Tefillah, Rabbi Kesselman, to say a Kapitel Tehillim.
If you have a Tehillim in front of you, it's Kapitel Kuf Chof Aleph. Shir Lamalois Eso Einai El Hehorim Mei Ayin Yovai Ezri Ezri Mei Madinoi Oisei Shomayim V'Oretz Al Yitein Lamoit Raglecho Al Yonum Shomrecho Hine Lo Yonum V'Lo Yishon Shomer Yisrael Adinoi Shomrecho Adinoi Tzilcho Al Yad Yeminecho Yoim HaShemesh Lo Yakeko V'Yoreach Baloilo Adino Yishmorcho Mikol Ro Yishmor Es Nafshecho Adino Yishmor Tzeischo V'Yecho Meyato V'Yadoilo.
I'd like to call upon the Rav, the Dean of Yeshivat Yavne, Rabbi Einhorn, to say a few words.
To the family, to Rabbi Bronner, Yibadol L'chaim, we all become a composite of the people that influence us most. And we all could agree that beyond being a great woman, Dr. Bronner was an exceptional human being. And where does that come from? Where did she learn her ideals, her visions, her concepts, her distinctions, her ideas? So more than anybody else in her life, it was clear that her Rebbe for her worldview was her father, Rav Yitzchak Amsel. The family gave me a copy of his Kitzer Darkei Tshuva. It's a commentary on Hilchos Treifos, not an easy sefer to write, and quite large. At the front is a 75-page introduction, a magnificent introduction. And I was going through the introduction, and I noticed a few beautiful ideas. Number one, he writes, he says, Tzarech ktsas litom, tam mesikas hakodesh, someone has to taste a little bit of the sweetness, mikol hasfarim, from all the svarim, Agadas Hashas, Zohar, Tikkunim, Arizal, Ramban, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. He goes on through a long list of svarim that he's so excited about. I read that paragraph and I think about Dr. Bronner's library. She wasn't a single note person. She was someone with such depth, a love for so many ideas, a love for so many svarim, a magnificent work in those svarim. We saw the most esoteric svarim in that library with post-it notes on each and every page. And that love for learning, that thirst, that unquenchable thirst for learning is exactly what her father's describing. I turned further in the introduction, and her father writes, Kumo ken Eretz Yisrael, legabe kol ha'olam, Eretz Yisrael gavoa mikol ha'artzos, ve'etzem kol ha'aratzos. That Eretz Yisrael is the highest of all places and the essence of all places. Dr. Bronner's life was animated, whether in Czechoslovakia, whether in Williamsburg, whether in Johannesburg, whether in Los Angeles. Her life was animated by a love for Israel. A Zionism that was fueled through her teaching, through her lessons, through her ideas. And that as well came to her from the values that her father had shared with her about what he believed was important for a Jew in the modern world. And then I carried on in this introduction. And in such a, I would say, a religious work, Hilchos Treifos, quoting the Munkacher Rebbe and the Satmarav, and anyone you could name at that time who was a powerhouse in that world. But among all of them, he said something amazing I would not have expected in this book. He says, I want to thank Biti Hayakara v'Hanechmada, my precious daughter, Isha Yirat Hashem. Isha Yirat Hashem hamushlemet v'amulumedet v'amaskelet minashim. a woman who is complete, a woman who is learned, a woman who is intellectual. It's clear this was a value for not just his sons, who he praises in the book for knowing how to learn, but for his daughters. That they should be people who know hamilumedas, hamaskeles, who know how to think, who know how to learn. His care for his family, his love to pass on that legacy, even posthumously, that they should know and they should keep knowing. That's an incredible idea, which I know would change her life forever and became the essence of her life. These ideals that he speaks about, that he passed on to Dr. Bronner, the ideals of love for studying, love for books, to be a Yodei Sefer, the idea of a love for the land of Israel, of Zionism, the idea of caring about what is going to keep your family strong, what is going to be important to them, how you equip your family in the modern world. The greatest treasure of all, she was Zocha with her family. To be able to merit to raise children who have continued and live her ideals. Whether Walter and Esti, Temi and Bernie, and building up Yavna and the Yavna Shul, they're living what she was teaching, which is that people should be Yodei Sefer. They should know, they should learn, they should be able to come to Shul and know what they're doing. This was what she believed. Moshe, the idea that you had taught, the idea that you had come and taught us that living in Israel, that you and your wife had said, we're living in Eretz Yisrael. This was your mother's dream. And to be able to zocha even one level deeper, to be able to share that with your grandchildren, that same passion. When my wife and I were in New York, in Manhattan, the shul in Manhattan, Dr. Bronner's granddaughter, Odit, and Dr. Zach, making sure that the shul is moving, the shul is doing, the shul is working. And here in Los Angeles, great event, maybe one of the crowning moments of Dr. Bronner's life, or at least the last years of her life. When my wife and I were at the event at Eula, May 15th, 2018, when she merited to have a Beis Medrash, dedicated Beis Medrash at Eula in her name, a Beis Midrashah. Now, the end of this sounds like that was the crowning moment, that she had a Beis Medrash in her name, that girls can go and study and learn. But I think the crowning moment of that day was when her granddaughter, Dr. Leora Orenbach, would introduce her. And that was what it was about for her. That the legacy she received from her father, from her parents, of passing on Torah, it's continuing, it's thriving in all her children, in all her grandchildren, and impacting the entire world.
I would like to start by acknowledging Marisol Zamora for her care and devotion to my grandmother for the last 20 years. Marisol was an important part of my grandmother's life and assisted her in many ways. We cannot thank you enough. Savta Leila loved you and considered you family. I would also like to thank Ruth Valencia and Denisio Reyes as well for their devotion in helping take care of my grandparents. A week before she passed away, many family members gathered at my grandparents' home to celebrate their 70th wedding anniversary. At the anniversary celebration, Savta Leila gave a wonderful Devar Torah about marriage, about how she and my grandfather were meant to be, and how they supported each other for those 70 years. After the speech, Savta Leila sat down next to my grandfather, he should live and be well, and made a bracha on the anniversary cake. She never missed a bracha all her life. That I know for sure. It was a wonderful day. Today, I do not want to go on and on about my grandmother's academic and communal accolades. Firstly, because prior to thinking about what to say in this speech, I tried to look up quotes from her book, Journey to Heaven. When I found one I liked, the source of the quote was the Pesuda Pigrapha. And since I do not know what that is, I figured I'd better speak on a more personal level. I know that many people here either attended my grandmother's study groups, listened to her lectures, read some of her articles or even her books, were perhaps her students, or literally just realized she was an accomplished author when they arrived at the Shiva house a few weeks ago. You all know how much she accomplished in her life and what an amazing woman she was. I simply want to share some stories of growing up with her and having her nearby while starting a family. Growing up, my cousins and I got to go to Savta Leila's house a lot. We would go swimming there, we would steal soda from the mini fridge, we would play hide and seek. all through the house, maybe sneak extra cookies out of the Schwartz boxes. Any Shabbat or Chag meal we ate at her home was a formal affair. These meals always included a very detailed Devar Torah. I do not mean repeating what the rabbi said in Shul, nor do I mean a small chiddush from the Parsha. I mean an original Devar Torah with actual quoted sources, and Safta Leila didn't need a photocopied Mora Mekomot handout or any notes. It was all Baal Peh. These Divrei Torah were usually immediately followed up with opposing opinions from my grandfather. This was a Shabbat and Chag table like no other, and my grandparents would debate at the table, both of them using equal and opposing proofs from multiple sources. There was not one meal where my grandmother did not share Torah in a formal manner. I'm confident she never repeated a Devar Torah either. Only now do I realize what an amazing feat this is. Her life really was dedicated to Torah study, and she always wanted to share that with us. I asked for mechila from her because most of the time I was not listening attentively enough. My grandmother loved the importance of Hebrew names. Safta Leila, of course, had a name book, a book which I am sure is no longer in print. It weighed about 20 pounds and contained the origin of every Hebrew name. Safta always made sure her great-grandchildren had strong names. Just like her father, who was a Kabbalistic rabbi, she knew each name had a specific and special meaning for that child. One story I want to share is that when we had our second child, we wanted to name him after my wife's grandfather. We went right over to Safta Leila's house. We expressed to her that because his name was Yisrael Yitzchak, and my name is Shmuel Yitzchak, while my wife's father's name is Yisroel, neither names would actually work. She did not need the name book. She answered immediately. Safta said, "Don't worry. In the Chumash, Yisrael is Yaakov and Yaakov is Yisrael. You can name him Yaakov because Yaakov had two names." More recently, my daughter had a project on Masada, a project where she had to tell the story of Masada in Hebrew for a class presentation on Eretz Yisrael. Right away, my daughter came to me and said, "When can we call Safta Leila?" We called, and Safta went on for over 30 minutes telling us all about Masada, the dates, the names of the people, and the final sad ending to their story and the Kiddush Hashem it was. After the call, my daughter asked me, "How does Safta Leila remember all the names and dates? We didn't tell her we were calling." I told her Safta loves the Jewish people so much that she studies Jewish history each and every day. That was my Safta. She lived with a love of life, a love of Torah, a love of family, and a true love of Klal Yisrael. I would now like to call my aunt, Mrs. Tammy Monderer, daughter of Dr. Bronner.
Mom, standing here, speaking in your honor, would be just what you expect and want of your daughters. You could not be the daughter of Leila Bronner and not know how to speak. To the most wonderful mom, there are not enough words to describe my amazing mother. You accomplished so much in your life, academically, being involved in the community, working for and giving large amounts to charity. You are a tough act to follow. As a child, I remember coming home from school every day to find you sitting in your study, surrounded by your books. Nevertheless, you were very involved with us in our studies, and especially our Jewish studies. This was your primary concern, education over everything else. What especially stands out in my memory was your studying Tanakh with me every Shabbos morning in preparation for my matriculation exams. In your biography, you said to your father, "Tati, I want to learn," and you certainly accomplished your goal. You were a woman 40 years ahead of her time in promoting the status of Jewish woman. You really made such an impression on everyone you came in contact with. You were not only a role model, but a beautiful fashion model to us as well. It was so wonderful having you and Daddy with us in Los Angeles for the last 35 years. You took pleasure in helping your grandchildren with their Jewish studies. They, in turn, were so lucky to have their grandmother work with them. You were fortunate to see all of your grandchildren succeed. but you were especially thrilled with your granddaughter's successes. You provided all of them with a role model of perseverance and goal orientation. Their accomplishments made you so proud, but it was because of your encouragement that they succeeded. You also had an ongoing, continuous, close relationship with your daughters, Esty and I. Last week, we read Parshas Pinchas, which includes a counting of the tribes and families of Bnei Yisrael. This included Shevet Levi, amongst whom is Yocheved, the daughter of Levi. Yocheved has 3 children, Moshe, Aharon, and Miriam. In your book, Stories of Biblical Mothers, you discuss the fact that Miriam was the first woman to bear the title of prophet. You state that she is also known in biblical literature as one of the triad of daughters, which also included Yocheved bat Levi and the Egyptian princess bat Pharaoh, who together saved Moshe, and from which began the process of the redemption of Israel. I would like to highlight the mother-daughter relationship between Miriam and Yocheved in order to point out that it was a role model for future generations of Jewish women. You know that Pharaoh had decreed that all Jewish male children born were to be thrown into the Nile in order to stop the growth of the Jewish nation in Egypt. Yocheved could no longer hide Moshe as he grew, so she placed him in a basket to float down the Nile. We can hardly imagine how emotionally traumatic that must have been for a mother. She had to have Miriam keep an eye on him. As soon as Bat Paro saw the baby in the basket, Miriam appeared by her side to suggest that she had a wet nurse who would help the princess raise the baby, and of course allow Yocheved to remain with her child. Miriam is the ideal daughter who always is there to help her mother deal with both physically and emotionally with crisis in her life. Both Esty and I tried our hardest to be there for you as much as possible. We hope that we provided you with love, affection, and companionship during your later years that helped you deal with challenging issues that you faced. Mom, Esty and I also enjoyed many good times with you, whether it was shopping, lunch, or Starbucks. We will surely miss our wonderful times together. Your ultimate dream and belief, as described in your book, Journey to Heaven, was about the afterlife. Your final dream was to enter Gan Eden and enjoy Menucha. As we say in the daily Shmona Esrei Tefillah, Veli Yerushalayim Ircha, Berachamim Tashuv, V'tishkon betocha ka'asher dibarta. To your city, Jerusalem, you return in compassion, and may you dwell in it as promised. Oh, here I am, okay. If I may take the liberty of changing the meaning of the pasuk from its intended reference to God, and instead it to refer to you, Mom, the pasuk could be understood to mean that you have finally come to where you always dreamed of being, with Yerushalayim being your stepping stone to Gan Eden. May God bless you with a lichtiken Gan Eden, and may you be a Melitza Yeshara for your family. We are very devastated by our loss and missing you every day. We really loved you so much.
I'd like to call up my uncle, Mr. Moshe Bronner, son of Dr. Bronner.
Rabbi Kesselman, Rabbi Arnon, family and friends, thank you for all coming here today to honor my mother. What I'm about to say is basically the hesped I gave at her grave. Pia patcha b'chochma v'torat chesed al hashana. This pasuk in Mishlei, which we recite every Friday night, is a small window into the life and personality of my dear mother. My mother fell in love with the Tanakh at a young age and studied it with a passion. In 1948, with the declaration of the State of Israel, she decided to learn to speak Hebrew. She studied for the teacher's course in America, then went to Israel to sit for the final exam at the Hebrew University. She spoke a fluent Hebrew with no accent, which is incredible for a person who never lived there or spent more than a month at a time in Israel. Her academic achievements were astounding. My mother had a BA and an MA from the Witwatersrand University in South Africa and earned a doctorate in Semitic languages from the University of Pretoria. She wrote 8 books, many of which have become part of the curriculum in universities all over the world. When she and my father moved to South Africa to open a diamond business, she became a professor of biblical studies at the Witwatersrand University. This was particularly remarkable given the fact that in the 1950s and 60s, it was unusual for a woman to be a professor at all, let alone of biblical studies. As such, it frustrated her that people didn't take her seriously, that a young, beautiful, and glamorous woman was meant to be seen and not heard, especially in colonial South Africa. The fact that she wore kisui rosh, something rare in Johannesburg in the 50s, only added to her uniqueness. I have found it especially moving that in the 48 hours after we announced her death, I received dozens of WhatsApp messages from her students, all wanting to let me know what a difference she made to them. She left an indelible imprint on the lives of so many people. In short, she was a woman who left a mark, a chotem, on the world. She left, as one of her students told me, a giant footprint. Of course, part of that legacy is the Leila Bronner Girls' High School in Johannesburg. Hashem blessed my parents with much success in their lives. They arrived in South Africa in 1951 and set about building a school, a yeshiva high school. They funded it and worked for it. My mother traveled the length and breadth of South Africa to raise money for the school, which is still the largest Orthodox day school in the country. It was all we breathed for the first 20 years of our lives. She lectured all over South Africa. She spoke eloquently and was an articulate, even mesmerizing speaker. We always used to say that if she spoke at a simcha or any other event, you didn't want to talk after her. My parents had a loving relationship, but also a very intellectual one. They were constantly helping each other with their various careers. My mother was a feminist before there were feminists, believing that a Jewish woman should have an equal opportunity with her male counterpart to develop her talents and make a meaningful contribution to every sphere of Jewish life. My father supported my mother completely in her academic endeavors, but with his great sense of humor, he would often tease my mother about her feminism. This did not always go down too well. My mother was the daughter of a Hasidic rabbi from Hungary. Her family came as immigrants to the United States in the years of the Great Depression, and she grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan and Williamsburg. Her Kabbalistic father got up every night to do tikkun chatzot. He never kissed her his whole life. But her parents taught her that one must always look after the yatom va'almana, the widow and the orphan. My mother, feminist that she was, always sought to help the almanot. It was her main focus when it came to tzedakah. She also raised vast sums of money for the Achuzat Sarah orphanage in Israel. My mother was constantly studying. She was driven. She had to be the best in everything. Growing up in a house with parents who were overachievers and very successful was challenging in itself. Our parents constantly taught Tammy, Esti, and I that education was the path to success. Limud HaTorah was the most important goal, and clearly we internalized that message. Both of my sisters have master's degrees in Jewish studies. My mother also helped me prepare for the Chidon HaTanakh, the International Bible Quiz, where due to her efforts I came seventh. So far we have talked mainly about Piha Patcha B'Chochmah, but there is also V'Torat Chesed Al Lashonah. That bracha my parents had. They were successful and they gave tzedakah in amounts that I wish everyone here today were able and willing to give. Following the dictum, Umi B'Sarcha Al Titalem, she helped to buy houses for her brothers and her sisters and their children. While my mother achieved so much in her life, everything she did was Hashem Matzliach Bi'ada, Baruch Hashem. Before closing, I have to thank my sisters Tammy and Esti, who have taken care of my parents for the last several years. Their dedication and willingness to bear the trials and tribulations of doing so has been heartwarming, truly Yotzei Min HaKlal. On their behalf and on mine, I ask my mother for slicha if we did not honor her enough. I don't know how you can sufficiently honor a person who did so much in her life, but my sister certainly tried. We ask Mechila for you in case there was something we failed to do, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. We will always remember you as the beautiful, glamorous, and impressive mother who always looked out for our good and the good of our family, and who loved Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. Yehi Zichra Baruch.
I'd like to call up my mother, Miss Esti Feinblum, daughter of Dr. Bronner.
Okay, honored rabbis and friends, thank you so much for coming to honor my mother. I'm also going to say the speech that I gave at her funeral. Dearest Mom, as I stand here now on your shloshim, the images I see of you is sitting at your desk in your study at our home in Johannesburg, South Africa, with all your books and sforim around you. I can clearly see the black and white sketch of Hamat Mid, the eternal student behind you. To me, you were my loving and wonderful mom, always sitting and studying, waiting for us to run in and tell you about our day, always ready to help us with all our needs. You wrote the best speeches for me and my siblings. You taught us values, gave us a steadfast and firm moral compass on how to conduct our lives, reminding us to give charity, be kind, and always help others. You were a trailblazer for Jewish women. It is amazing how you, a young refugee who fled with your family from Hitler's Europe, who grew up in a Hasidic family in Williamsburg, became such a champion for women's learning and Orthodox feminism. Yet, despite all your progressive thinking and writing, you never forgot that you were Leila, a descendant of a Hasidic dynasty and the daughter of halachist and Kabbalist Harav Yitzchak Amsel and Rochel Amsel. That tradition never left you. As a child, I remember how you practiced Hachnasat Orchim, always hosting events, speakers, visiting rabbis, and many other interesting people. You especially believed in chesed and taught me that charity begins at home, not only giving to organizations that asked, but also helping your extended family anytime you could. You were very generous and sympathetic to all their needs, lovingly known as Tante Leila. You always emphasized education and believed strongly that we should live our lives according to the motto of Yafet Talmud Torah im Derech Eretz. It is beautiful to study Torah while engaging with the world and worldly knowledge. Pirkei Avot. I remember you always saying to Tammy and I, don't only marry somebody, but be somebody in your own right. You encourage us to study and have a career of our own. You did not forget your son Moshe, though, and studied with him, helping win the Chidon HaTanakh in South Africa. You constantly stressed involvement in communal life and children's education. You were always passionate about your involvement in Mizrahi women, helping to establish Achuzet Sarah in Israel. You also helped build Yeshiva College, the first Orthodox day school in South Africa, together with my beloved father, Rabbi Joseph Bronner. Later, you dedicated the Leila Bronner Girls High School, enabling Orthodox education to flourish. To all your students, and I was one of them, you were known as Professor Leila Bronner, the professor of Bible and Jewish Studies at the Witwatersrand University. Elegant, inspiring, and dynamic. You embodied the saying, Aseh Toratcha Keva, make Torah a permanent feature of your life, Pirkei Avot. You love to teach, lecture, and share your knowledge. It was the passion of your life, and that feeling was returned by your many students over the course of several decades. You continued your teaching and lecturing in Los Angeles, especially at your Shabbat Shiurim. I learned a lot from you and will miss your inspiring words. It is with this belief you helped fund and establish the Dr. Leila Bronner Women's Midrashah at Eula Girls High School just 1 year ago, encouraging girls and women throughout the community to come and learn weekly. Mom, as you begin your journey to heaven, which you wrote so beautifully about in your book, about the afterlife, I ask for slicha and mechila if I hurt or disrespected you in any way, as I know the mitzvah of kivat av va'em was very important to you. I promise we will take good care of Daddy, who was your partner and soulmate for 70 years. He misses his Leila, the love of his life. In your last book, your biography, The Eternal Students, you wrote from Kohelet, V'yashav he'afar el ha'aretz kashe haya, v'haruach tashuv el ha'elohim asher natana. And the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Following this quote, you wrote, while I take great comfort in the belief of an afterlife for the soul, I do not believe that old age is a time for fading. I believe if you carry on with the things that always have made your life meaningful, your life continues to be meaningful, even as your body begins to betray you. I do not believe in retirement. I carry on and plan to face my Maker with my boots on. This is the mother whose spirit I will always treasure. We miss you dearly as the woman who broke boundaries, defied social conventions, and always, with a touch of grace, glamour, drive, and chutzpah, fearlessly claiming what was hers. We will continue your legacy as we remember the Isha Chashuva v'Chachama that was our Imma, Savta, and Savta Rabbah. May you be a Melitz Yosha for the family and Klal Yisrael, and may you have a lichtig Gan Eden. Thank you.
I'd like to call up my sister, Mrs. Odette Oliner, granddaughter of Dr. Bronner.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out to honor and commemorate the life of my grandmother, Professor Dr. Leila Bronner. Bear with me, as my grandmother has always written my speeches. Realizing I had to write this myself was rough. My grandmother came to LA in the 80s. I was about 7. Let's just say I cannot remember life without her. I remember being excited to know they were moving here, vague recollections of a first duplex, and finally, memories of her beautiful home on Las Palmas, 1 block away from our house, where I would visit, examine all the tchotchkes, delicate ornaments, family photos, and obviously eat all the chocolate truffles in the living room, which were probably meant for the guests. She was always glamorous and always fashionable. What other 89-year-old do you know that has the hottest Givenchy Pandora bag on the market? Little did I know, as a child, that my grandmother was a world-renowned professor who had written notable publications and was busy expanding and influencing opportunities for women in the Jewish and secular worlds. In my adolescent years, I have memories of doing homework with my grandmother. She helped me understand the works of Chaim Bialik and read and translated stories about Chelm, the famed Polish town in Jewish folklore full of fools convinced of their own wisdom. Those stories made me laugh, and my grandmother was a pro at making them come alive and helping me get good grades. It was around then I realized how different and special my grandmother was. I looked up to her, came to her for advice, and tried as hard as I could to emulate her drive, her success, and her perseverance. My grandmother strongly believed and agreed with the sages who say that a name often reflects a person's future personality and achievements. This was a quote from a speech she helped me write for my youngest son, Maccabee's Upsharon. She continuously imparted the idea of names and their impact on a person's potential in our conversations. In those discussions, what resonated with me always was the idea of potential, everyone reaching their full potential, achieving what they could, and pushing themselves as far as they could go. My grandmother reached, and I would say even exceeded her full potential, fostering a beautiful, close-knit family, excelling in her professional endeavors, writing 8 books, and leaving a legacy of motivation and inspiration in the community she helped shape, South Africa and Los Angeles. Her continuous resolve to maximize her potential resonated with me personally, and I cannot thank her enough for being a confidant, an example, and an inspiration my whole life. I will miss her more than I can express, and I only hope to follow in her footsteps of finding the same drive and making sure my children can live by her example. I have memories of Sefta giving shiurim to all the women in the community on Shabbos, coming to lecture brilliantly in Jerusalem when I was at Bronner's, watching her debate with my grandfather at the Seder table to see who could quote the Haggadah best. She may have won most of the time. Of course, on Pesach, if you sat near her, you knew she may ask you to get her tons of food from the buffet. She did not have time to wait in line. She was too busy having intellectual discussions with the family and everyone on the program. Sefta also had a lighthearted and serious focus on mazel, or luck. She used to sing a song that made me and my cousins laugh. You gotta have a little mazel, because mazel means good luck. If anyone wants a full rendition, you can stop by. It is my blessing to everyone here via Sefta Leila that they are not only able to meet their potential, but also have the extra mazel. I will miss you, Sefta, and my children will always feel lucky to have known their big Sefta, as she was affectionately referred to. We will always remember our special times together, all the family seders, you taking us out for lunch, Starbucks, and always devoting your focused attention to each one of us. We know you will always look after us, and we will try to continue to make you proud. We love you very much. Thank you.
I'd like to call up my sister, Dr. Leora Orenbach, granddaughter of Dr. Bronner.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming out. To my dearest Sefta, it is hard to believe that just a little over a year ago, I was speaking to you in your honor at the dedication of the Eula Girls Beit Midrashah program. I remember feeling so proud as your granddaughter that even in your later years, you were able to speak so eloquently and clearly about the importance of women's learning. You have always been a source of inspiration to me with your dedication to Jewish learning, Jewish identity, and Orthodox feminism. As the youngest grandchild, I have fond memories of spending Shabbat afternoon at your house and listening to you inspire other women with your words of Torah. I saw you treat Saba and your children with unwavering attention and love. You never stopped giving to your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. You made sure to never miss an event, whether a simcha, siddur play, or arrival of a new great-grandchild, and you showed up in your best outfits, always present with a speech in your back pocket. You always stood up for the rights of women and encouraged us to make our mark on society so we could make a difference. Personally, without you, Sefta, I wouldn't be who I am today. You inspired me to forge my own path. In fact, without your constant encouragement and Erev Shabbat pep talks, I wouldn't have pushed myself to obtain my doctorate, and for that I am eternally grateful to you. Thank you for all you have taught me. Your family and the greater Jewish community will never forget you. I will miss you so much, and I will make sure to continue singing your favorite song, You Gotta Have a Little Mazel, to my children and our family, and I know that you will be singing along with me.
I would like to call up Rabbi Kraus, Mora de Asra of Young Israel of Hancock Park, and the Menahel of Torah Emes to recite the Kel Malei Rachamim.
Ya Malei Rachamim, Sheikhein Bamroimim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechaino, Al Kanfei Ashchino, B'malois Kedoshim Utahirim, Kezoyer Harakiam Azirim, Es Nishmas, Leah Bas Rabbi Yitzchak, Shehol Chol Yoylamo, Ba'avur Shatzibur Mispadalim, Ba'ad Haskaras Nishmaso, B'gan Eden Tehei Menuchaso, Lochein Ba'al Rachamim, Yastireo B'seser Knafav Yoylamim, V'yitzroi b'tzrach hayim es nishmaso, Adonai hu nachloso v'sonuach b'sholom al mishkavo v'noimar amen.
I would like to call up my cousin, granddaughter of Dr. Bronner, Dr. Shoshana Mermelstein, and her husband, Dr. Ari Mermelstein, to make the siyum in honor of the Shloshim.
I'd like to first thank Ari for learning Masechet Makot from my grandmother's Shloshim. In the sugya that has particular resonance at this time of year, Masechet Makot closes with the famous story about the Chachamim walking through the ruins of Yerushalayim. When they see a fox running through Har HaBayit, they cry. Rabbi Akiva, however, laughs. When the other Rebbeim ask him to explain himself, Rabbi Akiva quotes a nevuah and describes such a scene. If the prediction that a fox would run through the ruins of the temple has been fulfilled, he reasons, so too will the nevuah about the eventual rebuilding of Yerushalayim be fulfilled. Rabbi Akiva sought signs that would dull the pain of mourning and guarantee that the Mikdash was really not lost. That observation is a nechama for the Chachamim, who close with the Masechet by saying, Akiva, nichamtanu, Akiva, nichamtanu. Akiva, you comforted us. Akiva, you comforted us. Savta was truly a matriarch in our family. Shabbos meal conversations at my grandparents' house always focused on Judaism and Torah. Savta emphasized in speech and action the importance of learning Torah and living by its values. She modeled for us what it meant to learn and live by Torah. She emphasized repeatedly and passionately that women should always have the opportunity to immerse themselves in Torah learning as a key element of their religious and spiritual lives. What is true for our national mourning is true in our mourning of the passing of Savta Leila. There are ever-present signs that show us that she is genuinely not lost. When our daughters sit around the Shabbos table discussing the Parsha, we feel Savta with us. When we learn with our girls for a Gemara test, when they take for granted that they have the same opportunities to learn Torah as does our son, we feel Savta with us. When they pick up one of her many books in our library and find inspiration from the fact that their great-grandmother devoted her life to the study and teaching of our tradition, we feel Savta with us. And when they take for granted that Judaism is not just something learned in books, but something that defines our lives, that their lives should be predicated on Torah, Avoda, and Gemilut Chasadim, we feel Savta with us. Savta, your vision is being fulfilled in your grandchildren and great-grandchildren every day. At such moments, we say to our children, Nichamtanu, Nichamtanu, you comfort us, you comfort us.
It's a real zechus to be able to make this siyum from the shas that Savta Leila learned from. Shuv pa'am achat hayu olin l'Yerushalayim, kevan shehigiu lahar atzofim karu bigdehem, kevan shehigiu lahar habayit, ra'u shulal sheyatza mibeit kodshei hakodashim. Hitchilu hein bochin v'Rabbi Akiva mitzachek. They observe what's taking place on Har HaBayit. The Chachamim cry as Rabbi Akiva laughs. Hamrulo, mipnei ma'ata mitzachek. They ask him why he's laughing. Amar lahem, mipnei ma'atem bochim. Why are you crying? Hamrulo, makom shekatuv bo v'hazar hakarev yumat v'achshav sho'olim hilchuvo v'lo nivkeh. We're observing a fox on Har HaBayit. Should we not cry? Amar lahen, l'chach ani mitzachek. Tichtiv v'ya'ida li edim ne'emanim et Uriah HaKohen v'et Zechariah ben Yivarech Yahu. V'chi ma'anyan Uriah et Zechariah, Uriah b'mikdash rishon, Uzchariah b'mikdash sheni. L'talah ha'katuv nevuato shel Zechariah b'nevuato shel Uriah. B'Uriah k'tiv lachein biglachem Tzion sadet hecharesh. Referring to the nevuah of Uriah, in which the Navi says that because of you, Tzion will be plowed over. Zechariah k'tiv od yeshvu zekenim uzekenot b'rechavot Yerushalayim. Zechariah, on the other hand, was the one who prophesied the eventual rebuilding of the temple and of Yerushalayim. עד שלא נתקיימה נבואתו של אוריה, הייתי מתיירא שלא תתקיים נבואתו של זכריה. Rabbi Akiva observes that until he saw that the nevuah of Uriah would be fulfilled, the nevuah in which the fox would be running through Har HaBayit, he was worried that perhaps the nevuah of Zechariah, foreseeing the future rebuilding of Yerushalayim, would also not be fulfilled. Achshav shenitkaima nevuato shel Uriah, now that he has observed the nevuah of Uriah being fulfilled, biadua shenevuato shel Zechariah mitkayemet. He now realizes that the nevuah of Zechariah will also be fulfilled. B'lashon hazeh amrulo Akiva nichamtanu, Akiva nichamtanu. Akiva, you have comforted us. Akiva, you have comforted us. Oh, Hadron Alach, sorry. Hadron Alach Masechet Makot v'Hadra Chalan. Da'at Alach Masechet Makot v'Da'at Chalan la nitnashei minach Masechet Makot v'la titnashei minan la ba'al mahadein v'la ba'al mada'atei. Yiratzom l'fanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Eloi Avotenu shetehei Toratcha u'manotenu ba'olam hazeh u'tei imanu le'olam haba. Chanina bar Papa, Rami bar Papa, Nachman bar Papa, Achai bar Papa, Abamari bar Papa, Rafram bar Papa, Rachish bar Papa, Sorchav bar Papa, Ada bar Papa, Dara bar Papa. Harivna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha befinu ubefifiot amcha beit Yisrael v'niyayat nachnu kulanu v'tzetzainu v'tzetzai amcha beit Yisrael kulanu yodei shemecha v'lamdei Toratecha me'oivai techakmeni mitzvotecha ki le'olam hi li yihi li bitamim b'chukecha l'man lo evosh le'olam lo eshkach pikudecha kivam chiyitani baruch atah Adonai lamdeinu chukecha amen 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 sela va'ed modim anachnu lach Adonai Eloheinu v'Eloi Avotenu shesamta chalkenu miyoshvei Beit HaMidrash v'lo samta chalkenu miyoshvei Kranot she'anu mashkimim v'hei mashkimim anu mashkimim l'divrei Torah v'hei mashkimim l'dvarim betelim anu amelim v'heim amelim anu amelim mekablim schar v'heim amelim v'einam mekablim schar anu ratzim v'heim ratzim anu ratzim l'chayei olam haba v'heim ratzim l'ver shachat shene'amar v'ata Elohim toridem l'ver shachat Anshe damim umirma lo yichatzu yemehem va'ani yaftach bach. Yiratzom l'fanecha Adonai Elohai kishem she'azartanu l'sayim masechet makot kein ta'azreinu l'hatchil masechtot u'sfarim acherim u'l'saymam l'ilmod u'l'lamed l'shmor v'la'asot u'l'kayem et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha bi'ava. Uzchut kol ha'tanaim va'amoraim v'talmidei chachamim ya'amod li u'l'zari shelo tamush ha'torah mipi u'mipi zari v'zara zari ad olam. ותתקיים בי בהתהלכך, תנחה אותך בשוכבך, תשמור עליך והקיצות ההיא תשיחך, כי בי ירבו ימיך ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים אורך ימים בימינה, בסבולה אושר וכבוד, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
גדל וקדש שמי רבה, ועמוד יעתיד להתאחדתה לחי המתיה, ולעסק היתון לחי אלמה ולבני קרתא ירושלם, ולשכלל ההיכל בגבה ולמקל פלחנה נכרעה מנהרה ולעטבה פלחנה דשמע אלא תראה וימליך קודשה בריחו במלכותי ויקרא וחייכון וימכון ומחד לכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה ורח לעולם ולעמל מה יעד ורח וישתבח ויתפאר רומם ויתנשא ויתודה ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושפחתה ונחמתה ואמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יש למה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
Please remain seated while we play a video in my grandmother's honor.
אבא שבשמיים אומר לנו אנוכי אסתר פניי ביום ההוא ביום ההוא אבל רב נחמן ואפילו בהסתרה שבתוך ההסתרה בוודאי גם שם נמצא השם יתברך ואפילו בהסתרה שבתוך ההסתרה בוודאי גם שם נמצא נמצא השם יתברך. איי 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 גם אחרי הדברים הקשים העוברים עליך אני עומד, אני עומד, אני עומד גם אחרי הדברים הקשים העוברים עליך אני עומד, אני עומד, אני עומד ואפילו בהסתרה שבתוך ההסתרה.
As I welcome Yehuda and Yael to our home in 212 December, I'm reminded when I was young like them, and my favorite song was when I was, before I got married, was you gotta have a little muzzle, 'cause muzzle means good luck, and with a little muzzle you always have a buck. But if you got no muzzle, though you are on the bull, you try and can't get by. You beat your head at bed into the wall. To cut this short, I hope that when you two come here and arrive, it's going to bring you a lot of muzzle. You're just at the beginning of your life, and we're so delighted to see that you're happy, you're on launch to your careers, and may Hashem bless you. And in the Parsha of this week, we're reading about Yaakov as he surveys the lives of his own life and his children and grandchildren. So I see you coming to us, and I hope that we can give you blessings. You should be blessed and Hatzlacha Rabbah, and that little muzzle should always follow you day to day. Now, when I think you're at the beginning of your life, that's how my husband and I, Taba Yash and I, when we came from New York, we had one form of life, but then when we went to South Africa, we were already married, and we had our first 3-month-old little child, Temi. And I remember so clearly that I wanted to go to South Africa because when we had the first child, it meant staying home, and I always wanted to continue my career. I wanted to be married, have children, but just as important to me was to have a career which would give me a meaning in life. And in South Africa, I got the chance because there a woman could have help in the home, so I could go in the morning, study at the university, continue my education from New York. I had graduated as a teacher from Beit Yaakov, and then I went to Hunter College of the city of New York. And when I came to South Africa, I continued. I got my BA honors, MA, and doctorate. But all along, I always continued what I wanted to do. I had wanted to be a mother, a wife, a sister, family, all, but I wanted to have a career of my own. And through that, I got involved in Jewish studies because I had a good background and got all these careers. But teaching at the university, mostly it was in the morning. In the afternoon, I would come home to be the kids, and we had this beautiful garden, and they used to sit and play outside, and I was doing my preparing of my lectures. And this is the way my life in South Africa was actually very comfortable, and I got to do a lot of lecturing. And when I came to California, I liked California, but I never had the same opportunities because we didn't have life as easy, and we didn't know that many people, so it took a bit development. Everything in life to get into a job, to get to lecture a lot. And that's been part of my life, although I love traveling. And as I look on my grandchildren and grandchildren, they sort of carry on our tradition. I'm happy about that. They're modern, but they're Orthodox, they're Jewish, and I hope as they go through life, you and Yael, all of them, I love the saying that the world stands on 3 things, Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim. Torah means to us both religious, but also secular studies, getting a profession. And Avodah really means prayer. And I just now bought the new prayer book of Rabbi Sachs, Lord Rabbi Sachs, Jonathan Sachs. And he says we have Torah and we have Avodah's prayer. I love his saying, I love beautiful saying. He said, you know, prayer is the soul talking to God. And in that soul speech, you can get all your interest in. You're getting your private talks to God. Your soul speaks with God. And every subject you want, come on there. And that's why I bought the book now to read. It's the new approach to Jewish prayer and avodah. But also, you must also have gemilat chasadim. You must also be an extrovert in life, help others. Not too many people are narcissistic. You should go out and help people also, gemilut chasadim. Through that, you meet a lot of interesting people, it colors your life better more. So I hope I've given you some insight to how I try to live my life, and maybe when that goes on, I'm not around, you remember and look at this video. I know you had a Safta Leila. I visited you in South Africa. I visited you when you came to Israel, and you came often to see us in LA. And so let's all have a very happy life. You're at the beginning, we're at the end, like the parsha this week. Yaakov says, ever surveys the life of his children. So I hope to have this video so to see you in it later and to bring you good luck and mazel. So let's go with the mazel. You gotta have a little mazel, because mazel means good luck, and with a little mazel, you always have a buck. May Hashem always bless you, keep you, be successful, and go by the sisma of Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim.
אני עומד, אני עומד, אני עומד גם אחרי הדברים הקשים העוברים עליך אני עומד, אני עומד, אני עומד גם אחרי הדברים הקשים העוברים עליך אני עומד, אני עומד, אני עומד
Everyone is invited to Cantor Hall for a Shloshim Suda. Thank you all for coming.
I'm not good with cameras.
She's an incredibly inspiring woman, and I'm so lucky to have been able to hear her speak so many times.
It was a very, very beautifully put together and emotional tribute to an incredible woman.